Okay, today we're on the last day of discouragement, and today we're going to talk about how to overcome discouragement. All right, I'm done talking about all the bad things discouragement does. Let's talk about how to overcome discouragement. So the first thing is do something. Get up. Do something. Don't just sit there. Don't just be under the tree or in the cave or feeling sorry for yourself. Do something. You know, many of the great achievements in life that have been accomplished were done by people who were tired or discouraged, but they just kept on working. They kept on trying. They kept on believing. So when you're discouraged, what's the first thing you can do? Do something. Okay, you may not know exactly what to do. Like David, like we talked about, where all the wives and kids were gone, he didn't know exactly what to do. But what did he do? He talked to God. He had a moment with the Lord. He talked with him, and then he took a step. He didn't know, but he took that step of faith. Okay? So when you're discouraged, don't stay in that discouragement. Get up. Do something. All right? Even Elijah, that's what God was wanting. He wanted him to get up. But Elijah was just telling him how, he's the only one. He's the only one. So we always have a choice. You can be like Elijah and just want to stay in the cave and not go forward again, not get back up and try. And then what happens? Got to get replaced. Or you can be like David, and you can say, even if I don't understand, I'm going to take a step, and I'm trusting you, God. And God brought along that Egyptian servant and helped him, and they, all got recovered. So what's the second thing? The second thing is stop looking at you. You're not the only person who's ever been discouraged, or who's ever been hurt, or who's ever, been faithful. Like Elijah, he thought, I'm the only one who's being faithful. No, you're not. There's another 7,000 plus who are also being faithful. And they're also facing discouragement. So realize that, okay? First thing is we want to do something. And the second thing is get our eyes off ourselves, okay? Our eyes can't just be on ourselves. And what's the third thing? We need to see things from God's point of view. All right, we talked about already Isaiah 55:11, where God says, my ways are not your ways, my thoughts are not your thoughts, my ways are higher than your ways. So we want to get God's perspective on things. When we're looking at it like this, it may seem huge. But if you look at it from God's perspective down, it's so small. It's so small. And it's so easy to see the end from the beginning. He is the Alpha and the Omega. Revelation 1:8 says, he is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. He already knows. He already knows. So stop just focusing on yourself. You're not the whole issue. You're so discouraged, but you just get stuck replaying your discouragement, blaming other people, comparing. And God's saying, get my perspective. See things the way I see them. Okay? So going the second mile, what does that mean? We need to fill ourselves with what God says about us. Not what we say about us, not what other people say about us, not what we think other people are saying about us. All right, what is God saying about us? Get our eyes off the situation. Okay, the next thing we need to do is move to a place where we can move through it so that we can allow God's answer to come to us and for us to be part of the solution. All right, there's a movie my kids used to love when they were little called Madagascar. It's about these animals that escape from the zoo and they think, they're going to one place. Anyway, they end up in Africa. Obviously Madagascar, right? And they're so hopeless and they don't have food and they don't know how to get off and they're trying all these things, right? And they have this song and it's like, you've got to move it, move it. Oh, my kids used to run around the house just saying, we like to move it, But that's sometimes what we need to say to ourselves in the middle of discouragement, in the middle of, this isn't what I expected or this isn't how I planned it. You know what? You need to move it, move it. Don't get stuck in the cave. Don't get stuck buried beneath all the discouragement that you're feeling. Get up and let God move you because revelation brings us conviction and conviction brings us movement. So that's what we need. We need to push past the discouragement. Take the revelation from God and let that bring a conviction and let that give you momentum. That you know what? That word that he put in your heart, remember we talked about the first day that the enemy's trying to assassinate your dream. That word, no matter how many discouragements you have to face, it's worth fighting for. So don't become so exhausted. Don't get so discouraged that you can't keep pressing on. I'm believing in you that this week, all the discouragement that we've talked about, you're letting it go and you're moving forward. We're pushing past whatever discouragement comes. And you know what? When you see someone else discouraged, help them push past it too, so that all of us can be faithful to do what God's called us to do.